What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sean from Room 9 Podcast, just introducing this coming up episode of Thorras Istoria. I have the wonderful privilege of sitting down with a friend that I've known since 5th grade. Her name is Natalie Pellnat, formerly known as Natalie Reef. She gets on and we kind of just have a discussion. Her father is an alcoholic, and she just kind of shares her struggles and how she has been getting through everything, and she really has learned how to set healthy boundaries and just really learned how to take care of herself. So I hope this can help anybody who is struggling with a family member who has an addiction with some sort of drug. So please pay attention. I hope you enjoy and keep following us, keep checking us out, keep doing your thing to help us out and grow. I have seen this good amount of growth over the last month or so from everybody listening and supporting us. So thank you very much for all of that, and I hope you enjoy. Have a good one. So Natalie Pellnat.
Yes.
I have known you since 5th grade, right?
Yes, 5th grade.
The old Buffalo Academy for Visual and Performing Arts.
And we were both music majors.
That's right. You were vocals too. That's right. We used to do our concerts together with Mr. Shinta.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I noticed. Well, I didn't notice that our buddy pictures no longer on the mantle, and I was going to ask you about that.
The buddy pictures. It's so funny because as soon as you said, I have a little joke that I'm going to say immediately. I've already thought about the buddy pictures, the $7 that I owe you.
I wasn't thinking about the $7.
No?
I was actually thinking, where's my carnation? Because I got you like 3 or 4, and that's what I want more than the $7.
The carnations?
I want a damn carnation.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was. Good days.
I forgot about those dollar carnations that we would send out to people.
Now you remember.
Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce. This is Room 9 Podcast, by the way. Probably should do that, because this is the name of my podcast.
Yes.
Our podcast, sorry, Andy.
And I've enjoyed listening to it.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been putting some work into it, so it's been quite the ride the last month and a half, treating it like a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been picking up momentum, so it's been cool. It's been good to it's been good for me because it keeps me on my toes.
Yep.
And keeps me, because I can only handle so much AA and NA stuff. It drives me nuts after like so many groups. It helps, but it's just like, all right, I can't. It's so culty like for me.
And you've been doing this before, like everything happened, right? Like you've been doing podcasts for a while.
Yeah, kind of like everything else in my life. I come up with a creative idea and then start it and then don't do it anymore. Except for this, I've been pushing through. But yeah, I was doing it kind of before a little bit. I enjoyed doing it, but nothing like seriously like pushing it out there and coming up with a name or anything. So this is really the first time I've like, all right, this is the podcast name, got social media stuff up, got a YouTube channel. We got it all going. So
yeah, it's awesome.
We got a lot of people interested in. Mm-hmm. I just realized there's no good podcasts out there, recovery podcasts.
Really?
And there's like none. It's dumbfounding to me.
Huh. I find that very interesting.
And there's so many, people who have been affected by addiction in one form or another.
Which is why I'm here.
That is why you are here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think actually you reached out to me, right?
I did. I reached out to you, and when I heard of everything that was going on with you, I guess I was a little shocked because I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And it made me think, I think I'm ready to tell my story about my father and how it's really affected my life, how his addiction has affected my life and my mother's life and my sister's life and
grandkids.
Yeah.
The list goes on of people.
Yeah.
That it affects.
I'd say it's affected my whole life. So.
And your father is alcoholic?
Yes,
okay.
Alcoholic since before I was born.
Okay.
And I also think there's definitely other drugs involved, other pills.
Okay.
So, yeah. I never really actually saw the pill. My mom did. Mm-hmm. But the drinking for sure. has been
something that's been around.
Yeah, huge issue. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. I cannot find nobody who has not been affected by addiction. There was a guy at Horizon Village that came in the one time and had people like, how many people in here know somebody that died in a war or something? And, 1-2 people raise their hand. And they said, how many people know somebody who's overdosed and died from an overdose? And almost everybody. Yeah. It has just affected crazy. so many people. And you don't find, you don't realize, I'm an addict, and you don't realize in the midst of your addiction how many people are, really just affected by it.
Oh, yeah, tons of people. Which I also wanted to talk about how, my father, he is the most stubborn person I've ever met. I know everyone probably says that, but holy shit, this man is extremely stubborn. I know addiction is a disease, but at some point it's like you have to take accountability for yourself and for this destructive lifestyle that you're living. And it just blows my mind that you can lose, your wife, your kids, no relationship with your grandchildren, you still can't get clean, you still can't see it.
It is. I've struggled with the quick side note. Try to keep this, moving your head around the mic. Yes,
I will be doing. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I would say you could hold the mic, but that's really annoying. Like you'll move it around more.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's the big thing. But kind of going back to what you were saying, it's hard to explain to somebody how overwhelming and powerful addiction is. It's literally another voice in your head that just is conning you into doing things almost. It's totally amazing how powerless people are over it. And I shared with you before we started recording, I was crying when I went to break into Christine's house to take stuff. I did not want to do it, but it's I had to, in a sense. It's almost obviously I didn't have to per se, but I really had that pushing me and pulling me, and you're almost, I don't know what causes people to get to the breaking point.
That's the thing, with my father, is that he has truly never hit rock bottom. I think he has, but
everybody's rock bottom is different. Yeah.
And he still has. He lives in an apartment. He still has somewhere to go. Basically, he got the apartment because he knows a friend. His friend rents out the place, and so. He lives there. I can't even imagine what it looks like.
Does he work?
He actually lost his job.
Okay.
Him and his partner own their own business, and he lost his job. So I'd like to talk about how I saw him at Christmas time.
Okay.
Okay. And my mother, being the angel that she is, she invited him over to spend Christmas with us, even though they're divorced.
How long have they been divorced?
Oh boy, so they have been divorced for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, my mother, when Dave and I bought our house, my mother moved in with us for about 7 months.
Really?
So that was oh yay, we got a new house, and
come on in, Mom.
Come on, Mom, we love you, but it's while my father is in the house doing, whatever,
yeah.
and she's here at because he wouldn't leave. He's not going to leave. When they got divorced, my mom had to actually pack his clothing, pack his belongings, because he wouldn't do it. My mom had to move him out of the house. It's sick. It really, it's crazy.
It is tough. And how long roughly were they married for? I'm pretty sure they've been married the whole time I've known you.
Yep. They were going on about 40 years.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know how my mother did it. Holy shit! I don't know. She's a saint. I don't know. It blows my mind.
I'd say that I don't know how my mother does it with my father either.
Oh man.
Sorry, Dad. I love you.
They can compare stories.
Oh, I'm sure they could.
I think Ours might be a little worse, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always say I feel one of the biggest factors that keeps my parents together is my brother and sister dying. I think that was probably one of the biggest things.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like some relationships that'll tear people apart, but I think it really brought my family tighter.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's always been my issue with confronting my dad about alcohol. It's like, the dude lost 2 kids. Like,
right. So it's like, yeah, he
like, what the fuck?
He can do what he wants. I mean, yeah, I can.
Which really shouldn't be the case. But, so going back, yes, your parents were married for almost 40 years.
Yes,
and
almost
then
40
3
years.
years ago, this has happened.
Yep, so that happened. Definitely took a toll on me. It's like I wasn't surprised that they were getting divorced, but it's still, even as an adult, it's like, oh wow, my parents are really divorced, and like, what am I gonna do? Like,
how did you take that?
Again, I wasn't surprised that I was happy for my mom that she finally got out of this.
That she could do it.
Yes, I mean, they went to counseling maybe about 10 years ago, and the counselor smelled alcohol on my father. He said, listen, like, I can't work with you unless you quit drinking. Like, I can smell it on you.
Or at least come here sober.
So, no, my father couldn't even do that.
Oh my gosh.
My mom tried. My mom actually, so to backtrack a little bit, about 10 years ago, my mom had moved in with my sister for a short period of time. And, my father would drive by and call her names, yell out the window, just disgusting things. And she was going to divorce him then, and she ended up staying. And, and like I said, a few years ago, she finally had the courage to just do it, and I'm happy for her. I really am.
That's awesome that she was able to muster up the courage to do it. Because I tell people all the time, like, when I got divorced, it was my decision. That I didn't want to. I realized that I'm married to a woman that I really, like, I shouldn't be happy when she leaves and sad when she comes back. Like, this is the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's not healthy at all.
But that was still the most difficult thing that I've ever done in my life, is to look another human being in the eyes and be like, I care about you, but I'm not in love with you. And I can't do this. I can't pretend anymore. I can't fake this. And obviously it's a little different circumstances, because your mom, your dad was an addict. And
yeah, I mean, growing up, and I think you might remember, I mean, I was always a daddy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
He had a strong presence and good storyteller. He was intelligent. He loved me. I was really close with my dad. We watched baseball together, Yankees. And coached my softball team for many years. I can't say that they were all bad times. Mm-hmm. I can't say it was all horrible. But again, the drinking problem, every night he would go out in the garage. And I also want to share that he rarely drank around me, my mother. I really never saw my father drink. He was a closet drinker. He would drink alone. And I'm talking like pounding bottles of liquor or like vodka. My mom would find bottles hidden in baseball bags and, just crazy places. Beer, just everything. So every night he would go out in the garage. And I was a young kid. I didn't really know, like, oh, my dad's going, he would come in and his mood would change. And this happened pretty much every night. What
kind of drunk did he get? Angry when he was drunk? He was angry.
Yeah, he was angry. He was nasty. If you said something that he didn't think was funny or he didn't like, then you're an asshole. You know what I mean? So that was pretty much my life growing up. Looking back at it, I'm like, holy shit, I was a pretty tough kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was a pretty tough kid. So he did take a lot out on my mother, and she endured in a lot of emotional and psychological abuse. So, yeah.
That's tough, because I feel my father is, I don't know, there's times where I know he can get nasty. He never does it around me, at least. But I've heard some stories where he'll get nasty with my mother, and kind of very disrespectful in the sense. It's never happened when I've been around.
Really? You've never... never...
I mean, I've seen him sloppy drunk, but I find it comical. Like, he's just goofy. And
I kind of remember back in the day when I would come over in your garage and he was out there having fun. And,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was definitely moments of that. I remember one moment when we were 16, I think was the time where he was nasty to my mother, and I remember walking in the room and telling him, like, I was gonna, basically threatening him, like, if you don't shut the fuck up, or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've never really had an instance where he was nasty drunk around me.
Well, that's good then for you. I mean, it really is.
Because that's tough to deal with. And you can't tell somebody who's drunk anything.
Oh, no. I used to think, again, my mom, when I was in high school, I remember her saying, Natalie, do you think maybe you can talk to your dad? Maybe he'll listen to you as his daughter. And I did try. I remember thinking, okay, I'll give it a shot, So I remember he was laying on the bed. I went in the bedroom, and I just said, Dad, like, I think your drinking is a problem, and you're hurting us. And he listened. Like, I don't remember him getting upset and walking away, but nothing changed.
No. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, talking to we say, I'm going to say we because I'm an addict, we say what we think the other person wants to hear.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I'll change. I'll do this if I had $1 for every time. Like, looking back, Christine approached me 3 times before even, just when I was, hooked on pills, before I even moved to heroin. And 3 times I could have said, yes, I have a problem, I need your help. And I could still be in that house with her, in bed with her every night. But because, my pride and my addiction was so powerful that I just kept, no, I'm fine, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And you almost try to gaslight somebody, like, what are you talking about? You're making me feel like I have an issue, you just kind of...
Right, like you put it on them.
Totally.
Like it's your fault. Why are you even accusing me of these things?
Like, what are you talking about? So that's such a... And that kind of goes back to the helplessness of, having a loved one being addicted to something, because you want to help, you want to do something.
Oh my God, and I love my father to death. That's really what kills me, and what gets me really choked up is that I adored my dad, like, he was my everything, and then to come to find out that he was actually the biggest liar that I've ever known, like, manipulator, just, it was just out of control, and I was like, wow, how I thought I was the smart kid, like, how did I not, I thought I was...
We're so naive as kids,
so
teenagers.
I guess so, man, like,
yeah.
And then I realized, wow, things were not what I thought they were at all.
Which is crazy. Your whole reality shifts. It just gets flipped upside down when you realize, wow, you thought this.
Or maybe I was in denial because
cops
were called. My mother, I can recall a few times where my mother would call me late at night, Natalie, can you come over, like, as her support? And he was shit-faced in the bed, wouldn't get up. My mom had to call the cops. EMTs came. Even the EMTs, I heard him say, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like,
really?
Took him to, finally got him out of bed, drove him to ECMC. They took his vitals, whatever. Oh, he's fine. He's ready to go. Like, what do you mean he's ready to go? He's this guy. He's sick. Like, but no, he's good. He's ready to go. I could pick him up. So I remember in the morning, he called me and was like, Natalie, you gotta get me out of here. This place fucking... This is
was this the hospital or like the rehab part?
I'm not sure of, because I didn't pick him up. They actually give you a ride home. I didn't know that until...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But he's basically said, Natalie, pick me up. This place is fucking crazy. I'm not like these other people. And it's like, no, actually you are. You are these people, Dad. Like, oh yeah, total denial. So that was, yeah.
Oh, man. Denial's effing crazy. It is so crazy. And, like, and this is the power of our psyche. It's so insane.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you, with all your soul and heart, believe it. Like, I'm not like these people. I do not have a problem like these people.
But does he really not believe it, or he's just manipulating us to believe that he does?
I mean, I feel like, in addiction with denial, I feel like, no, you 100%, like, your mind is saying this and you 100% believe it.
And everyone is out to get you, right?
Everyone
is out to get you. No one's your friend. Like, no one, or if they try to help you, they're just being assholes.
They're assholes. You're crazy.
We want you to go to rehab. We want you to go to detox. Dad, like, we want to keep you in the hospital. Nope. nothing. I'm fine.
What are
Nothing's
you
wrong.
talking about? Yeah, I don't understand why you think I have a problem. And it's such a hard wall. I mean, that's why, really the biggest step I always say is when I finally could say with honesty, I'm Sean and I'm an addict. It was like such a weight off of my shoulders. Like, okay, now I can begin to do something about it. And
that's kind of like with me, with my anxiety, and to say like it's okay that I have anxiety issues, and it feels good to to say it and to have. Mm-hmm. I know I'm not alone. There's so many people struggle with it. So many people, So it's nothing to be ashamed of, and but I mean it's different level. But I understand what you mean. Where it's just to say like I have this issue, I want to talk about it, I need help.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. I said I just did a podcast yesterday with this guy, and I used this clinical psychologist I really like wrote a book, and one of the name of the chapters is "Be Precise in Your Speech," and what he goes on, he shares this story. It's like a kid's book where it's called what the hell's it called? There's no such thing as dragons. This kid has a dragon about the size of a cat, and he goes down and tells his mom, I got a dragon. There's a dragon in the house, and mm-hmm. his mom goes, there's no such thing as dragons, and the dragon gets bigger.
Okay.
And it keeps going, and he goes, Mom, the dragon ate my breakfast. The dragon ate my homework. Oh, honey, there's no such thing as dragons. And eventually the dragon gets so big that it takes the house off the foundation, and it's running down the street with it. The father comes home from work, uh-huh. finds the house, is like, honey, what the hell's going on? She's like, I don't know. And he's like, there's a dragon in the house. And all of a sudden the dragon gets smaller. And so the more they talk about this dragon, the smaller he gets, and finally he's back in the size of a cat. And he goes on to say, like, if you can just find what your issue is, what your problem is, mm-hmm. and just say it, and just be precise in what you're saying and what it is that you have an issue with, that's when, then and only then can you begin to fix it.
Yeah, I like that story.
Yeah, and it's such a huge thing to find out, all right, say it out loud, too. Because you can say it in your head, but for some reason it's different. I don't know why. But saying something out loud, even if I'm alone, man, like,
yeah,
I'm an addict.
Right.
It just, and then that wall gets broken. But that wall of denial is so hard.
Yeah, it's it's incredible. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, it's such a hard wall to penetrate.
Yeah, so actually when I saw him at Christmas, like I said, my mom invited him over. It was okay, I saw him, didn't talk to him too much.
This was last Christmas?
Yes, okay. Sorry, this was last Christmas. And I just remember him, like, pacing back and forth in the house a little bit. We'd go outside, smoke cigarettes, whatever. And he still looked okay. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't look different. Then, on February 4th, which is his birthday, so what, a month later?
Mm-hmm. Roughly, yeah.
Roughly. Go out to breakfast, or for lunch, we're gonna meet him there. My sister picks him up with her kids. Dave and I go to meet them there. And as I'm walking closer, I said, okay, he's outside smoking a cigarette. And when I got up to his face, when I saw his appearance, like, all I could say was, like, happy birthday, Dad. I gave him a hug and kiss, and I ran into the bathroom and started crying. Mm. He had to have lost, like, 20 pounds. His face was just sunken in. He was sweating. He looked homeless. I'm like, who is this? I couldn't handle it.
Didn't even recognize him.
It was tough, man. Like, so we sat down, we got a table. I could even see other people at other tables looking at my father.
Really? It was that bad?
In my head, I'm thinking, they're probably like, who, oh, that's nice. They picked this
homeless guy. Shouldn't be laughing at that. But
no, but you have to. I mean, you kind of do sometimes. That's what gets you through it, right?
No, absolutely.
So, yeah. I'd say about 3 more times during that, what were you there, like an hour? I had to keep getting up and going to the bathroom. I couldn't stop crying. I could not look at my father. I couldn't eat. I'll never forget that day. I was kind of looking at Dave like, should I just, like, get up and leave? I don't know what to do. And thinking back to it, why we should have said something. Mm-hmm. We should have said, Dad, what's going on? Like, do you see yourself? You look like shit. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And we didn't, because we're in public. The kids are there.
You don't want to cause a scene.
I didn't want to cause a scene. So we just finished up, and I went home and I cried, and I did, about a week or two later, had a discussion with my father, and I told him, I asked him, I said, do you know why I was crying? Like, do you know?
Didn't have any idea, did he?
No, he thought I was sick or something, or maybe I had a fight with. I said, no, it's because of how you looked. You look sick. Like, which brings me to, Dad, let's go to a doctor. You got to get checked out. Like, is there something wrong? You know, fuck doctors. They don't know shit. I ain't going to a doctor. Okay. So nowadays, it's very rare when I talk to my father. When I do, I tell him, like, Dad, unless you're willing to get help, I can't have a relationship with you. I can't anymore, Dad. I can't do it. It's really hard for me. It's really, even though he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He's still my father.
Yeah.
I adored my father. But I can't, I have to go on with my life. I'm 32 years old. I can't stay stuck in this vicious cycle.
You have to protect yourself. You have to set those boundaries. You have to. And
I've finally come to peace with that it's okay to set up boundaries.
Mm-hmm. You need to.
And it's okay not to talk to him. I think about him every day. I think about him every day. And I think deep down he knows I love him. And I do tell him that when I talk to him. But I can't. He's Mr. Storyteller. He's got to talk shit about all these people. And it's like, no. Let's talk about you. Let's not talk about everyone else. This is about you. So unfortunately, I have to say that there has been no one that I know of who has been able to get through to him in regards to his addiction. In the past, I think he went to a couple meetings with a friend who tried to help him, but that ended as well, you know. Never stuck.
That ends quick when you're not ready, and again, it comes down to the person wanting to do it, and really something, I don't know what it is. Like, unfortunately, there's no set. If you do this and say this, the person will realize they have a problem to go get help. Everybody is so different.
You think your wife, your kids, what does it take? Close family members who are trying to help him, cousins. Why? How can you not see it? You just like the drugs and alcohol too much, right? I mean, 50 years of doing it.
So much of it I've found comes from this, and I like to say there's this Dr. Gabor Mate, his name is, and he runs this huge place in Vancouver, but he's an addiction specialist, and he always says, and I remember the first time I heard this, it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain. Because somebody, somewhere along the line, are using to cover up some kind of pain. Absolutely. And if you don't get to that, if you can't find a way to get to that and have somebody face it and want to heal that, then all you're doing is just pruning back something so it can grow back stronger.
Right. A mental illness. I also believe, go to doctors, I don't know, but I think my father has a ton of mental illness. But he doesn't want to take care of it. Doesn't want to face it. He doesn't.
And you know what? I mean, in all honesty, the sad truth is, like, there's so many addicts who are never going to get help. And
I hate to say it, but I think my father's one of those people.
But I wouldn't do that. Don't lose faith either.
No,
because I've seen people come in a lot older. How old's your dad? What, in his 60s?
He's 65.
Yeah. I've seen people come in a lot older. It's never too late. So don't ever lose faith about it.
Yeah,
because it can happen at any moment. You just don't know what it takes, because...
Right, what will it take?
I mean, what will it take? I don't know. And maybe maybe it won't happen, but... to lose that faith, I think, is silly, because you always want to make sure you're there. And willing to, a drop of a dime, with he ever truly wants to change, that you're there to help and support him. I think that's huge. But it does take getting, like...
You have to understand, too, there's a lot of resentment at this point.
Oh, my gosh, resentment is everywhere.
There's a ton of resentment that I have for my father now. Mm-hmm. So, not to sound selfish, but I'm like, wait a second, where was he when I needed him?
Yeah.
He really, truly wasn't really there, like, anytime I needed him. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So... Of course, I'll be there for him, though. Let's all rush to him because it's all about him all the time. Because he's... It's all about Ron.
It is good old... Yeah, the resentments do build.
They sure do.
I'm wondering... I'm going through kind of the 12-step thing.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly. But I'm on the point of where I'm going through my own resentments that I've had from when I was a young kid.
Right. Which you do have, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're there. They're definitely there. You know, at first I thought, I don't... Because I've always known I've had this beautiful gift of being able to... Sometimes I call it a curse. But being able to forgive people very easily. So at first I'm like, I don't have too many resentments, I don't feel. But the more time I've spent on it, I'm like, holy shit, yeah, that's kind of a resentment. That's kind of there. And the only thing I've noticed is my resentments have done nothing but weigh me down and cause difficulty in my life, no matter what it is. And it's trying to find a way to get to this like unconditional love and grace for not even just your loved ones, for everybody in the whole world.
You just kind of want to sound silly to say, it's so like, cliche, but you just want peace. Like you want everyone to be at peace.
Yeah, you absolutely do. But it's not easy.
No.
But kind of going back to the, not the addiction, why the addiction, it's more why the pain. I have found, like, the first time I got clean on my own in this house here, my parents' house, I got clean all by myself for like a month. It only lasted a month. But all I did was stop using.
Right, you didn't get to the root of
I didn't do anything else. I didn't deal with any guilt, any shame.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally just wanted to sweep it under the rug. Like, all right, let's not talk about this, guys. Let's put it over here. I'm not going to deal with my brother and sister. I'm not going to deal with the guilt of feeling like a failure through my, failed marriage and feeling like a failure as a father. I'm not going to deal with any of this shit. I'm just going to put it over here, and now I'm clean. So let's move on and pretend nothing happened. And all that does is creep right back in.
And it will.
Yeah.
If you don't.
It's so difficult to actually want to deal with, because it's scary as shit. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks balls to to be introspective and go into your mind and find things that are painful and that you're not good at and things that you suck at and the pain you've caused other people, the pain you've caused your daughter or your children or your wife or husband, whatever it is. You have to look at that, and then it makes you feel like shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And for me, like, I developed, probably when I was like 25, 26, I developed this introspective monster. Like, I fell in love with philosophy and psychology.
I think maybe a year or two ago on Facebook, like, I saw you posting a lot of things that...
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty neat. I like that, yeah.
I mean, I realized the best way to change the world is to work on yourself. That's all. That's the only thing you can do.
I'm saying absolutely a lot, and I feel like I never really say it, so I don't know if it's because I'm, like, nervous or something.
No, that's fine.
Edit those out, absolutelys. Where the fuck did that come from? Okay.
But I noticed that, the only thing you can do is to work on yourself to change the world. It's the only thing you have some sort of control over. And as I did this, I would realize, as I kept digging more into my mind and everything, and I realized, wow, my list of things I needed to fix was growing much faster than the list of things I was actually fixing. And I really became so resentful almost to myself. Like, dude, you're a piece of shit human being. Like, and there was no love, self-love, self-acceptance. There's no confidence. There was no self-forgiveness. There was nothing that I had with that. And that just poured more and more weight on my shoulders. And nothing was eventually I wasn't even working on anything else in myself. And so if you can't develop this self-love, this, this self-forgiveness and everything else, it's impossible to get through that. All right, these are the things I need to fix in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and other people can probably relate to this, but you have a lot of guilt with what goes on with your loved ones who are addicted.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like you kind of just have to step back, and it's like, okay, I kind of, now I know why I am this way, or why I'm anxious, or why I have these panic attacks, or what. It's because of all the shit you dealt with it. You didn't really realize what was happening at the time until you have time to really, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Think about it, and you're like, oh, holy shit, like, who am I?
And that's why you see people that sit in front of a TV all day That's why you see people who are addicted to shopping, like, and want material things. It's people just, they want to hide from themselves. Like, as soon as I'm silent, as soon as I'm quiet, as soon as I lay down, something's going to hit me and I don't want to deal with it. So how can I do that? How can I get, I mean, that's why addiction starts. I mean, that's why, I mean, I feel every human being.
We all have vices, too.
Yeah.
We all have, actually, something that your sister, Megan, said really connected with me when she said, I almost get kind of a high. I want people to accept me and like me. And when they do, I like to please people. And when they do, I feel really good. I can totally relate to that. I feel like that's so me.
You just want, yeah.
I want to be liked, and and then another part of me is like, who cares if people like you? You're a good person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're a good person. If they don't like you, that's their problem. It's not any of your business, right? So
that's kind of the point I'm getting to in my life, because I have Christine's whole family to fix things with in the future, and if I don't have that mindset of what, I deserve to be forgiven, I deserve to be loved and accepted, then it's just going to fail. So that's one of the biggest things I've worked on.
That's really important.
But kind of swinging it back to your father, I guess we were talking about those denial walls. But I did forget, I did send you a list of some things we could talk about that I don't even think we really touched base on.
Like what?
What is the one I wanted to, you said you had a lot. Oh, one of your most painful experiences is a result of your father's addiction.
Oh, well, I actually did talk about a couple, when I saw him, how bad he looked on his birthday. Mm-hmm. That was very, very hard for me. The cops being called, another instance. What really, if I can talk about maybe what pushed my mother to the breaking point.
Yeah.
It was I believe it was the day of one of my best friend's weddings, actually. And my parents were invited. And so basically, I'm wedding's going on. I look up, I see just my mother. I'm like, oh, maybe my dad's in the bathroom, maybe, And she kind of was like, kind of waved to me like, I'm alone, Dad's not here. Okay, whatever. I don't know what happened, but so come to find out that he, on his way home from work, this is the story he told. On the way home from work, he was listening to a song, and he wanted to keep driving around to listen to the end of the song, and he was about 3 blocks away from their house, and he hit a tree, which I think he really did. He hit a tree. So he apparently made his way home, didn't tell my mom anything, didn't say, I got in an accident, nothing. My mom looks out and she sees his car's all messed up.
So he came into the house afterwards, didn't say nothing?
Didn't say anything. Yeah. So my mom goes out there. She went into his vehicle. There were, I think she said, maybe 2 large vodka bottles that were pretty much empty, and she found pills. So that was kind of wow, okay. Again, I wasn't really surprised, mm-hmm. But... And then here's my mom, this woman who's strong as hell. She's like, oh well, whatever. It's just probably typical dad. I still have to go to Anna's wedding.
Yeah.
I give her a lot of credit. I think she is a very strong woman.
Yeah, it's sure as hell sounds like it. So she went to the wedding by herself then?
She went. Didn't come? Yep, he did not come. No, and he probably didn't even want to come and go anyways.
No, yeah.
That was probably the last thing on his mind. So. After that happened, a few other things happened that I don't know if I'm, I guess, not comfortable sharing at this time.
That's fine.
But my mom was just like, I'm done.
That was kind of the end of her rope.
End of her rope. And, she also has 2 grandchildren who she loves to death. And I don't think she wants to be around them. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want someone like that, someone so, what's the word, destructive around the kids,
the kids.
So I think, yeah, that was pretty much that, and then she went through and finalized the divorce. And that was actually another
so difficult, yeah.
Extremely difficult too. So, Yeah, so my relationship with my father nowadays is pretty non-existent.
Non-existent. Like, does he try to contact you?
Once
ever?
in a while he will. And you know, months ago I've said, like, Dad, why don't you, I can pick you up or whatever, or come over, we can watch a baseball game. Let's watch a Yankee game. That was our thing. We always watched our baseball game. No, never happened. Never came over. Never reached out to me to come over. No,
That's crazy.
I guess maybe he's just accepted the fact that
that his addiction is coming first.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it always really did, but my mother did a great job of kind of hiding. She really wanted to keep things, I guess she wanted to keep things hidden.
Family together.
She wanted to keep the family together, and was that a good thing, bad thing?
I mean, it's funny because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that question. I really don't, because there's, in one sense, I remember I'd seen a post one time, would you rather protect your kids from everything, or allow them to go through difficult times, or something along those lines? And it's such a tough question, because you want to protect your kids from everything, but you also, like, life sucks sometimes. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, life is going to throw challenges at your way. Life is going to be tough. Like, we're just hardwired for struggle and suffering. That's what we are as human beings, and especially kids. And you almost want to, so there's that kind of, you weigh up. Do I want to protect my kids from everything, or do I want them to grow strong and learn how to get through struggles? And so you kind of balance that off. I mean, especially a young child, like...
I also think, like, my mom had... she had distractions. She worked her whole life. She, was taking care of my grandma. So there were distractions. It's like, oh, we're not gonna really focus on this. Like, this, we'll just leave it on the back burner, Like, my dad's he's still going to work. He's still bringing home some money. It's not... Things aren't really that bad.
And the dragon's getting bigger.
And it's getting much bigger, yeah.
And bigger, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't... So what do you think you have to do, like, kind of moving forward? I know it sounds like you've set up good, healthy boundaries.
Yeah, I think I have. Again, like I said, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably too much. But, like, I have to just live my life.
You do. I mean, you have to take care of Natalie. And
I didn't for a long time.
And I'm sure that bred resentments and everything else, but you have to, I think you definitely have to, like, set that boundary and always be there, but at the same time, you have to do what's healthiest for you, no matter how much you love this human being. If you can't... Right,
and there's that, like, I have to be loyal to him, even though all these things have happened, I have to be strong, and I owe him this or something. It's like, I don't owe him anything.
No, you don't. You don't. And I think you have an awesome mindset with it. And
I have some great friends. I haven't gone to, I should go, but I haven't gone to any support groups, like Al-Anon.
Yeah.
But I have I think I have a decent amount of support. I have some great friends. My sister can relate. We both have to see eye to eye on everything. Maybe someday she can come on, and
absolutely,
I'm sure she might even have maybe a little bit different point of view.
Perspective,
yeah. My sister, she actually moved out at a young age, so I kind of felt like an only child. Sorry, but I did. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, it was kind of like me dealing with my parents, and she was out of the picture. She was. I think her reasoning behind that was, I don't want to...
She probably saw it.
I don't want to be here. Like, fuck this. I'm going out and doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, that's probably why even now I feel a little alone, because I felt like I was. I was alone in that. I felt.
Growing up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so tough. How old were you when your sister moved out?
She was about 17, 18, so I was 13.
Okay, so there's like a 5-year difference.
Yeah. I was still young,
Yeah, that's super young. What is that, 8th grade? 7th grade?
Yeah. let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 7th grade.
Like 14, 15, freshman year.
When you think about it, it's like I was a baby, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Dealing with trying to figure out these adult problems.
Having to be a grown-ass human being. Yeah.
Right. I feel like I was very emotionally intelligent at a young age. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what my brother and sister dying did. I mean, all of a sudden you're forced to grow up like that, and that's not fair to any fucking teenager.
No, and I'll never forget when that happened.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, 12 or 13 years old, and all of a sudden, I mean, you got to deal with all that heaviness of
and that's heavy.
Of life. That's super heavy.
Extremely heavy.
Yeah, that's no fun. But just as much as you say your mother is strong, I can see how strong you are too, which is amazing.
I have to give myself more credit. I'm working on it. I really am working on it. I am. You
do. That's super important. That's something I've been beating in my head a lot the last year. Is to never forget the things that we've changed and how strong we really are. It's one of my biggest things, because I feel like if you do something, like when we do something good and positive change in our life, and it becomes habitual, you forget that it is something good that you've changed and becomes an expectation. And once it becomes an expectation, then you kind of screw it up once in a while and you get pissed off at yourself. So every time we change things in a positive manner, after a certain period of time, if we forget to reward ourselves and be like, hold on, look I did this, I changed this. If we forget to do that, we forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, even with the podcast, I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't do it. Like, maybe I don't know how I'm gonna sound, and that's my first time doing it. I don't know. Should I all this negative, like the negativity, these negative thoughts, and I'm talking myself out of things. I'm like, no, Natalie, you're gonna go do it. You're gonna feel great after, and you might even help a person or two.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And even my mother, I was I don't want to say shocked, but it made me feel good this morning. She sent me a text and she said, I give you a lot of credit for what you're doing today, and you're really brave, and I love you.
That's awesome.
And I was like, well, maybe you could do it too. And she's like, oh, I'm not good at that stuff. See? Well, that's where I get it from, Mom.
Once I get a bigger soundboard, we'll have all three of you guys on.
Yeah.
Or gals, I should say.
That would be nice.
That would be pretty awesome to do.
So another thing I just want to say, I feel like I'm saying a lot, but I also, almost 2 years ago, started going to therapy.
Okay.
And it has been the best thing that I could have done for myself. Like 100%.
How so?
Oh, man. Just, I don't know where to even start. I've always been so hard on myself. Mm-hmm. And to really get to the root of why I am the way I am and my mindset, it goes back to my childhood and dealing with a father who was addicted to alcohol. Mm. So, yeah, it's been great. I go bi-weekly.
Okay.
And there's been times where I'm like, is it really helping? But something tells me, don't stop going. Yes, it is helping you. You are so much more confident than you were before. I'm nicer to myself.
Which is so important for everybody to learn how to do, is to become nicer to yourself. That is huge. If there becomes such a stigma too.
It does.
I'm weak. I'm not weak like that.
It takes a strong person to go to.
It does.
To go. It does. And anyone out there listening, and feeling like you need to talk to someone, please go do it.
It's huge. It's super huge. And it does. It takes so much more courage and bravery.
But I was ready
to do that.
I mean, I was so ready to go. And she'll tell me, thank you for letting me push you. And I'm like, yeah, push me as hard as you can. I trust. I'm putting my trust in you,
And it comes back to, it's like addiction. You have to be willing to want to change.
And the funny, I don't know, not really funny, but I talk a lot about anxiety and panic disorder, and she's like, it's because you suffer from PTSD. And when I think of PTSD,
you just think of war.
I think of mm-hmm. Getting raped, or I think of
something like that.
And I'm like, no, but it was like every day living with someone who had this addiction and in this negative environment that I was always in, and Yeah, I think I do suffer from PTSD, but hearing it, I'm kind of like, are you sure? Like, nah, I don't really.
No, you feel like, I was like that too. Like, you feel like it should totally be something like a super crazy experience.
Almost like you're not worthy of...
Yeah, my experience was not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
And you don't say it in like a denial way, you say it in almost like you don't realize.
Right, and I thought, growing up...
questionable, yeah.
I'm normal. My family's pretty normal. My parents both have jobs, you know. I know people who have it way worse than I do. We're fine. No, we were far from it.
Every family is far from it, I feel.
We're all dysfunctional humans, aren't we?
It does, and it takes... When everything comes into play is the people and the families who can work and help themselves, can really dive into their minds and their lives and their experiences and learn how to benefit and learn from those things.
Yeah. Whew. Some heavy stuff.
It was. I know. We did almost an hour here, Natalie.
Wow.
I was
hoping I was going to be able to do like a half an hour.
I know. Well, it goes by quick once you get in the flow of things. It seems intimidating from the outside, and then once you start it, it's like, and you get comfortable.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you
so much for coming on.
I thank you for having me, and I'm happy to hear that you are doing well.
I am, yeah.
And I know it's been a long time, but it feels like we just saw each other yesterday.
It does. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. So, and thank you everybody for supporting Room 9. Get on YouTube, subscribe, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the other social media things that I hate. And we will see you guys later.
Bye.